fighting Freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkins in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back them up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying, you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear. It probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery. Just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkins in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back them up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying, you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear. It probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery. Spooky up in here, it's crazy in here. We still gon' keep it going, I'm Knuckles. Nobody scares me. Whoever want it, bring it. I don't care, we can do this. Then come step up to the plate and meet your match. It ain't no thing.
Watch yourself, don't fall off of the shelf.
You must be the new boys in town.
What's that sound? Is someone moving round?
Sit down for a spell. You don't look so well.
Wait a minute, I feel great. You just leave yourself to fate. You might as well just hang around.
It's too late, we've got to operate.
Just try to relax. It's the House of Wax.
I'm for getting out of here.
Who will go to the cellar down below?
Trouble is a bubbling in the brew.
And while you're down there, Mr. Price will give you good advice.
He'll know what to do. You just tell him boo.
He will put the voodoo in the stew, I'm telling you.
It's like a movie. It's a big movie show. It's like a movie. It's a big movie show.
worse than I feared. I'll close my eyes and make it disappear. This is strange.
It ain't home on the range.
Just tells me that you got cold feet.
There goes the sun. Here comes the night. Somebody turn on the light. Somebody tell me that fate has been kind. While you are out of the night, it's like a movie. It's a B-movie show. It's like a movie. It's a B-movie show.
Why does this sound familiar? Because it is from Brave Little Toaster. That is the third song. Still hate video games so much. I think it's from Brave Little Toaster. Yeah. Okay, now I have an idea how my stream delay is. What is even playing? It's... Oh, it's this. Okay, yeah, there we go. I had to set up a lot of spooky music for this because spooky stream requires spooky music. I tried to like clean up this workspace to try and make it as little distracting as possible. I was gonna set up the SP, but then I couldn't figure out like again how to get the camcorder to HDMI out. I got it to work like once and I had to remember how to do it again. I have to relearn my streaming setup every single time I do anything related to anything at all. Okay, green tea. Guys, it's fucking hot. It's so hot outside and not having fun. The worst thing is if I had an AC hooked up to this thing, I would, it would be blaring and it would make so much noise. I'm pretty sure the mic would capture it. This mic captures everything in the room. I've heard people describe my voice as exactly as it sounds like on streams. Oh right, the fan might be blowing into the thing. Is my voice relatively sane compared to the audio? Granted, every track probably has a different volume. I can only hear the fan, so only imagine. Right, just like see if I can adjust this so it doesn't face the actual thing, but I can still feel any of it. Hopefully. Okay. I think I have this set up. I don't know. It always changes every time. Let's see if this is working. Okay, this is working. What happens if I press play? Does this work? Okay, good. So I'm not used to using Godot's embedded windows. This is kind of a new thing for 4.4. And I have not really used it. And there are some features that look interesting in 3D at least, because apparently you can... How do you do this? Override the in-game camera. This is apparently a feature. It's not bad. I kind of can see some use for it. I don't usually use this feature because it's slow as fuck, but I'm also not on the Pi, so I guess it's a little more usable. The Pi obviously runs 3D stuff much slower. But I might play around with this and see if they can work with it. But I still have to have a separate window because I guess functionally it is still a separate window. And so OBS doesn't actually, like, this is not actually, like, how it looks, kind of. Or is it? Let me, like, I don't even know what the... Go to window, go to dev. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so they are actually still separate windows despite it's called embedded. But luckily it looks and works fine here, so... Yes, like, what's the number one thing you do when you start a prototype for a game? Nothing related to the game. It's entirely just like, here, let's write the bootloader. Let's write the kernel. Let's write all the, like, boring boilerplate stuff on stream. I guess it's kind of a documentation on how I set that stuff up, I guess, if I were to, like, think optimistically. Let me turn this up a little. Then, like, the next song will be really loud and blow out my ears. I have thought about streaming from the Pi and, like, HDMI feeding it and just, like, doing all the dev on one monitor on the Pi, and it'd be a fun setup to do, but I also don't want to deal with that. I could just see it being a mess. It's actually surprising how well the Pi works for what it is, but there is still a lot of limits. I need to angle myself here. Like, just kind of throw this somewhere. 1 second. Make sure you rack up tons of technical debt to the boilerplate to cash in big later. Oh boy. Here to lurk and work really fast. Blizzard dance. Get these coding vibes. Never used a Pi myself, but heard about them being useful a lot. Pi 5, Raspberry Pi 5 is strong enough to serve as a lightweight desktop if you really needed to. 4 can do like one task, but because of how shitty WebTech stack is, like it's horrendous just because of that. If you don't use the like Twitch or YouTube to like actually watch stuff and you instead use like FreeTube or whatever, it runs better. But it's still, like, stressed beyond all measures. The Pi 5 can do a little more, and it's just a little more powerful to deal with utter garbage code that is just getting, like, pumped out with, like, thousands and thousands of JavaScript files just clogging up the entire system. It's really that bad. I'm not even exaggerating. What do you mean it's my problem if 8page eats 500 megabytes of memory? Yeah. There was a time when 500... My original desktop was 512 megs RAM. Like that was how much memory I had on my 2005 desktop. And I think that might have been low even for that era. I don't remember. I think that might have been respectable, maybe, but like for a desktop, it's still really cramped for that era. 2007, I got a Mac Mini, and that was 2 gigs of RAM, I think. Where was I doing? I was going to post this somewhere here. Just for ha-has. Just release? There's like so many things here. Oh my god, I was going to like pop this in another Discord. But I can't find where stream shilling goes, so I don't want to do that. Down here? No? Yes? Because I must have spent like a half hour, 40 minutes putting together a playlist. I didn't even like fill out, I don't know how long the stream's gonna go. I wanted to get like 2 hours, and at least I got like an hour 50. Just so like the shuffle doesn't loop too much. Where is, oh my god. What do you, 4.5? Whatever. Whatever. Oh, wait, there we go. Sure, whatever. Anyways, Bootloader. All the Luigi's Mansion OSTs. I have 2 songs from Luigi's Mansion 1, and that's it. The reason being is that the main ones feel like it's the exterior, where all the gardens are, and then there's just the hallways, the dark halls. Those are like the 2 songs I associate mostly with that game. Sorry, whistling Luigi tone. One of these, maybe in October I'll stream Luigi's Mansion. I play that game like every year. That and Spyro 1. I'm gonna stream Spyro 1. I think it's been about a year now since I've done like a... Like, I should like just stream games as well as make games. What was I doing? System. Okay, so bootloaders. When I when I set up a project, I tend to delay bootloaders because I just want to do prototyping. But I'm also in this weird catch-22 where the game is easier to prototype if I have a bootloader. Because a bootloader lets me just initialize the game in a certain way. I can pass in arguments to modify how stuff's going to work. I can prepare a standalone build to import PCKs if I'm doing PCK splitting, of which I am, because I have 3D models and a lot of big textures and audio, and that's going to eat up a lot of space. So I don't want to have to rebuild that every single time. So what I'll usually do is I'll just set up a like plain node, and it'll be like a simple bootloader scene, and it's just really plain stuff. It's nothing impressive at all. It doesn't even do anything visually. I guess you could put in like a... I guess if you're in debug mode, you can kind of put in an output here. So system, bootloader. And usually, because there's usually some kind of game state, right? Like a global game state. And if I'm going to have like global shit that breaks, I want to have a place I can initialize it in such a way that it knows what it is and all that. It's actually really annoying in Godot to have to like go back and forth and like tweak things between stuff. But if you use custom command lines for everything, it helps. So I guess I'll just use a bootloader external script for now. Just dump that on here. And I'd have to like go by memory, but usually I just start out with a simple ready, and it's going to do stuff like PCK load, whatever. That usually will stitch together PCKs. It could be an expected list, or it could dynamically like load them in from a file. Like, suppose I had like a folder for mods. You could just have it check that folder and like load in every PCK it finds. And then you disable that on Android because Android doesn't let you do anything fun. I guess you could like put your mods in the save directory, which was, that's another alternative. Command line. I'm not even like really thinking about how I'm doing these. So usually, because a lot of this stuff is like high level, global, it's like setting up the way that the program's actually gonna run. I might just have, might directly stash this in here, so like, const CMD line, and we could just preload that specific script. I like to do it relative if I can to avoid breakage when I inevitably move things and regret it. But now I could like stick everything that I do on here. Just, if I'm gonna do command line parsing, I can just stash that in here. Static, func, like, do command line, I don't know. I don't even need, it's possible I might do some kind of returning depending, but I don't think I do anything like that here. So, usually one thing I do, I don't even have a global state yet. So I basically just took this from my demo scenes with like the Feywing, and I just ripped all that apart. There's no global stuff there, so I also have to start setting up GameState stuff. And normally I try not to rely on, what's it called? I try not to rely on Godot's singleton system. The, oh god, what do they call it? They call them autoloads. I don't like to rely on that too much, but there are ways yeah, autoloads. There are ways you can do that. And what I do is I may have the GameState autoload, but in those are going to be things like SRAM, work RAM, and those are all going to be like self-contained objects. And so I store all those data in like things that can be basically I can just reset them by just creating a new instance. So we just re-chunk it and we just replace the old instance with that, and that lets me control state resetting easier. I don't have to write custom like, here's how you like do a reset of this state. I could just clean it all out in like one line. This is how pretty much Crop and Claw was able to just have hot reloading kind of implemented, because WorkRAM is just a separate object. You can just, whenever the title screen is loaded, you can just reset it. And if there is some things you need to mutate back, you can do that, but system, right, okay, so I could just say, like, I'm gonna store everything in state. Fuck it. I don't remember, I think I call it GameState in Gorbash. There's probably better words you can use, but this is like one of the few times I'll actually use autoload, and I don't actually do it, and it would actually save me some boilerplate because I wouldn't have to write instance all the time. You definitely only have one game state active at that. Thank you, scroll wheel. System, state, game state, whatever. So you can't see me setting all that stuff up, but once I have some kind of instance for that, it allows me to just hop in. Hi, Zeph. It allows me to just hop in and I could start putting bullshit down. But instead of like writing custom, or instead of writing all the game data here, like I said, I'll just go in, script, and I'll just type in for WorkRAM. WorkRAM, I can make a ref counted. It's fine. I could maybe use it. I wonder if I could use it in an object. I don't care though. Like that, we're talking bytes of memory. It doesn't matter. I should look at see if there's a way to force unload ref counteds so I can crash the game if like data I don't want to reuse anymore is like left in memory, and then I could kind of do some. I don't know if that's a thing I can do, but if it is, it'd be very helpful. But yeah, so it's like now I could say like export doesn't actually matter if you export, so screw that. Basically, I could just like set up all that stuff here. Game state only needs a reference to. Oh, I actually do want to class name this. Oh, see, now we have songs that are just suddenly much louder. I wonder if there's actually like a normalizer on here. Like, I think there's a normalizing. Advanced audio properties? No. There's somewhere around here. Oh well, everyone can go deaf, it's fine, who cares, right? It's fine, I'm sure it's fine. But basically, this way, anytime, it's like I don't have to write a reset function if I reload the, I don't have to like write a reset function if I want to reload the game, right? Like, what is reset? Static func. Well, I guess in this case we can just use this, but we could like literally do like reset instead of like I have to like go through every variable and like switch them to a default or whatever. If you chunk up what your memory is actually being used for, you can literally just do like this again, new. And maybe if you have like very specific conditions, like maybe you want to like mutate a certain way. Like maybe there is a setting you need to like dynamically fetch and set and force. Maybe you like want to check the command line and reset that from here. You can actually just pass in a function that just takes the WorkRAM. You could do something like that, WorkRAM, and then like you could do custom modifications outside when the reset's about to get called. I'm not going to do that because I don't care. I don't need any of this right now, really. Most of the time when I do, like, the base game state is, like, the only global thing. Because this is where I can just keep all the global stuff. And that way I don't have to worry about stuff being kind of scattered around. I always talk about it, but state is, like, the quickest thing to fuck up. And that's like why I like the functional paradigm a lot, is because then you kind of get good at not doing that. Because you don't have state, or you don't have as much state. If you have state fucking up, it's happening within the function itself. And that's easier to debug. But if you mutate stuff all over the global state from all over parts of the code, it's like now I have to wonder what's mutating this, what's mutating that, why do my... It gets very messy, man. Like, programs expand exponentially. So I can just also do the same with SRAM. SRAM is usually like what I dump to a file, and I call those like save data. It's like SRAM. Obviously, my naming schemes come from old games. SRAM usually has to be a resource. We could also just use a config file, but that usually requires a lot more manual intervention. It's safer that way, though. It's safer that way, because then you can't get aced as easily. But I also don't care. At least right now, I don't care. I still remember when I played Sonic Heroes. I don't know how I played that game. It plays so badly. I'd say of all the GameCube ones, like the main GameCube, like Dreamcast-y era of Sonic, Heroes probably plays the worst. It's so slippery. It's slipperier than the normal games. But yeah, SRAM is like where I usually stuff the saving, and then here we go. SRAM you can just switch out anytime you do loading, and then you like have the game just read SRAM, and then it just does whatever it needs to. What I probably should do is I should implement my emoji scripting. Oh, right. When you do SRAM, though, since you are dumping this to save, not as interesting as SA2, not as noteworthy as Shadow. Yeah, that's like another thing, too. It's this weird in-between. If it weren't for the fact that Shadow comes back in Heroes, you could just pretend that game doesn't exist and it wouldn't change anything, pretty much. But yeah, so you can like when you just export all your stuff in SRAM, it'll serialize to file, and then you dump that into wherever. I really need to make a generic framework for this because I use a lot of custom functions and frameworks to like. Crop and Claw 2 does this a lot. It literally copies SRAM twice. It'll read the text version, it will copy it to another file before saving to, but it'll like compress it, and then I actually have the checksums of all the files after they're written so that I can do like safety checks, sanity checks, make sure like the file is as it is so it doesn't get corrupted. That matters because we're always developing on those retro handhelds and everyone's using Sugar Wave for SD cards. So if there's an error, like, we can say, hey, this fucked up. You got a problem here. And try to, like, prevent save data loss. I haven't, like, made that into a framework yet, but one of these days I will. Man, I'm gonna, like, drive people insane if I don't figure out how to mute Discord on here. You know what, whatever. It actually doesn't matter. I have Discord on the Pi as well. Try and, like, monitor everything. But yeah, so that's like kind of how I start building out the bootloader for not just the bootloader but the core, because there is a lot of stuff that you just don't think about when you're just trying to get the prototype together. I know prototypes are meant to be thrown out, but I'm lazy. So command line initialization, I don't really have a lot I have to do here, but one thing I could do. I could say, like, we could probably just store a debug flag directly into GameState, and I don't care. There's another way we do it where we just have debug RAM, and we can just check if that exists or not and consider us in debug mode if that is active. But instead now, as long as we have, like, stuff like this, we don't really have to worry about issues like having to check the command line every time, having to check, like, I can just, okay, the game state knows whether or not we're in debug. Let's just check there. And that really, really does add up over time. Like, just putting these things together. That's why it's like, I really do try to spend a day just working on the bootloader alone, and the kernel. And the kernel's usually, like, the core of the game that's always running in the background. Yeah, you practically treat Godot as, like, hardware, and you practically treat like you're building an operating system on top of it, or you treat the game engine as an operating system. So like do command line now, I can just say like, we know there's always going to be a GameState instance. Fuck it. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it was OS command. No. Get some shit. Oh, here we go. I think it was. I'm just gonna go with get command line args. So we could actually just quickly get that. I believe it's a dictionary or something. Oh, it's a packed string array. So like every argument you pass becomes a string. This is actually really useful to know. It's to just set this stuff up and like have different parameters you could just pass in. Some of them are Godot's built in, and then some are custom ones that you write. So usually what I do is I'll actually go iterate through this, and I this is like why you know, this is how you know I'm sideways about this. I will actually go here, or actually I'm going to use, I think I want this. And I will set up a dictionary of type string with a callable as what it refers to. And this is basically me writing a really fucking weird match statement. I completely fucked this up. So we could say like do args. And I'm going by memory, so I'm probably doing things wrong. What are we doing here? What? Oh god, I'm like having a... What am I doing? What am I doing? It's a static art. What do we... I'm too lazy to read. Oh, I just... What? Oh, that's... Oh, there's just an equals there. Oh, that's... God, I'm... This is how you know I'm streaming, is because I'm like making the stupidest mistakes possible. There we go. So usually what I'll do is I'll like map out a so-called match statement here. But it's just kind of chunked away at the top in a dictionary. And what I can do is I can define like... I know that if debug is a flag, like debug like that, then I can do enable debug. I think we can even do how do I do this part? Some way I was actually really good at. I think I just do some like string splicing. Streaming while not writing pristine code first try. Screaming lizard face. Yeah, pretty much. So I can, like, I guess one thing you could do is also you can, like, write your arguments in a certain format. So, like, I could say debug equals true, debug equals false, or whatever if I really wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. Just for the sake of my sanity while I'm on stream. But I could do this, where GameState debug equals true, whatever. Baby code. See, now I have this. Do args, string callable. When a argument matches to something in this dictionary's string thingamajigger, it can actually do this. So for every argument, we actually reference the argument table, and we could actually jump to whatever function that we actually want to do. I write like this in so often. And it is some of the goofiest shit. It probably shouldn't be done, and it probably shouldn't work. But at the same time, I don't care. It's almost data-oriented. It's almost data-oriented. When you can just think of functions as another thing, like, your whole world opens up. I should probably snip some of this and turn it into, like, video. Like, turn it into content, and then I should, like, start selling people HelloFresh or some shit. But I'll do, like, multiple things like this. Obviously here I want to like actually verify that the thingy actually exists. So like do args has arg. That way it's just, you know, we make sure that if the command doesn't exist, we just don't attempt to call it. This is the weird way to do a match statement. It's not perfect and there are some weirdness to it, but like for quick things like I'm gonna pass a toggle of some kind in. This is one way I would do it. And I do things like in theory, I could do like a patch loading system this way. Like if I want to like force something in. I don't remember how I do arguments. There's a way I do arguments and I don't remember when they are. But I also might just not care. I guess you can also hard code some things in. Like you could say debug 1 and then you could just bind a function. The reason why it's static var instead of const is callables cannot actually, like they're not constant. They are like allocated things. They are allocated containers under the hood. They're basically like their own little object in a sense. But when you bind, you are also creating a custom version of that object where the arguments are pre-bound. Because internally, I believe it's just an array. Like, that's all it is, like a variant array, and that's what you call arguments in function calls. Like, I was able to even do that in C. And when I did in C, I felt so smart. The only thing is in C, it's hilariously unstable, like everything else in C is. Why is the creepy steeple music literal serial kill music? Like, they really love the strings. Meow. Finish something here real fast. So, that's how I like to do command line booting. I'll like have different settings that might get passed in, and I could even like do some things like with port master. I could say like, okay, we're gonna be on the port master, so I'll have like port master or whatever flagged in the arguments, and maybe there's like some special initialization I want to do specifically for port master. Crop and Claw 1 actually does this because the H700, the RK3326, those are too weak to do the shader that the NES version of it uses. So I just disable it so that the frame rates are high. It means you get less color perfection, but what are you going to do? So that's command lines. Mark this. I actually have a little to-do list, which I try to use. Nope. So that's... And see, the way I did this, since it's like all here, I actually don't even need this function. I could instead say like command line dot do command line. Because it's like auto-typed preload, you actually do get your autocompletes. There are some cases where you wouldn't, like if you were to just try to do this, or if you tried to type it manually, it's annoying. But that lets you get it strongly typed, and that lets you have access to all your autocomplete function stuff. And so now this will just run like, yay, do command line, hooray. And, let's see. Then, after that, I may come the PCK loading. Crop and Claw 2, like, the Gorbash framework really does a complex loading system. Like, depending on, like, what you're loading in, it has, like, multiple tracks of different things to load. I'm probably not going to do that as complex here. Because I want to load in, like, packs of assets and stuff. But I'm not going to deal with mods. I'm not going to deal with, like... I'm only making this for one game. I'm not making it for, like, 3 or 4. So it doesn't matter that much to me. So instead, I just... PCK load for now. I'll just call it that. Const PCK load. Preload. PCK load. And then go back because I'm lazy and just PCK load, whatever. Damn it. Load PCK just for the sake of that. See, it's also nice too because I can offload so much arbitrary scripty stuff to these separate objects. Not even objects. They're not objects. That's like what's the beauty of this. I don't need objects to like manage the Godot game state. I don't need objects, and they don't need to exist as objects. That's not a thing. It's not really like UI or something. You say like, okay, this is a menu, this is like this and that, and we have like hierarchies to traverse. That stuff will just complicate everything. Whereas if I just do static func PCK load, whatever, and then maybe like if I want, I can like check in, like is every PCK we're actually looking for, if we hard code everything, like are they all here? Can we throw an error if one fails? You could just do stuff like that, and like we're just dealing with good old global state, so it's like, why do we need to write objects for this? We don't need to involve ourselves with a class system. You could say like technically everything is a class because GD scripts are classes, but also fuck you, we're not saying that. And I don't need to write class name at the top. I don't need to allocate these as well-defined classes because they're only being used in a very specific context. They're being used in the bootloader. These don't really come up again. If they do, then I know where to put them otherwise, or like I'll namespace them to give access to some of their functionality elsewhere. But I only need them for here. So I'll preload them here. They can have all their wacky typage, but that's perfectly fine. So, where is this? So I don't need to like pollute. I don't need to pollute the class namespace is what I'm saying. You know, like if you go into create new, like, well, you can't see the screens here, but you don't have to create a resource for everything. You don't have to create an object for everything. You don't have to create a class for everything. You don't have to create nodes for everything, which will like flood your node list, and it makes it really annoying to sift through. So like static func PCK load. What am I? Oh, that's what's going on. Whatever. I'm just showcasing like how I build out a bootloader. It's fine. I don't care. So in this case, I have. Let me like actually pull this up. This is some fun stuff. I actually have to open a window. Let's see, window capture. Feywing dungeon. Thunar. Here we go. So this is actually the directory side of things. Here's a pro tip, a couple of pro tips. Build is a directory. This is actually where I store the builds. Now you might be thinking, holy shit, Pyrel, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you sticking the build folder within the directory of the... What the fuck is wrong with you? You are a serial killer. Now, I might be a serial killer, but what happens is if you Control H, GD ignore, you can literally just put a file there, .gd ignore. It's a hidden directory. It does not actually have any text in it. It's just a file. And anything that has GD ignore on its root, that directory will not show up in Godot. So this is entirely just for the build system, and it lets me kind of keep things self-contained. I have some other scripts in here. Like I have set up, it's a shell script. It'll actually go through, and I can configure how I want all my directories to go. Like, do I want a mods directory? Do I want an out directory? Out is usually where I'll stick all the runtimes, and where I'll symlink a bunch of files back to here, to PCK. And when I build the game, the PCK files are placed here, and they get symlinked. And if you're on Windows and you're an unfortunate soul, symlinking is annoying and a bitch, and you're kind of fucked. But for Linux, it's great, because it allows me to just build the PCKs once, and every single one of these will have them auto-updated. So if I'm on ARM Linux, or if I'm on x64 Linux, either way, I can basically run setup to get all the file hierarchies placed. I can symlink to this location for the PCKs, and then I can run my build scripts. And like build here will usually like run other build scripts, which like sometimes it's asset packs, sometimes it's like the core. Gorbash does this similarly. But anyways, it allows me to control how much I'm building at once, depending on how much I've actually written and I'm trying to change. And that makes it so I can do standalone testing really nice. And though I haven't really finished the setup for SSH Play just allows me to push the files to whatever retro handheld I'm testing. I have it set up so it works with my SP. And then I can run it from there, and I can test the performance. I could test if like things are running okay on it. The one thing I really have to do manually is I have to set up Godot to like symlink to a local binary, or I could just copy the binary in there, but who cares? And that lets me, that lets us like do all the builds locally. And only some of this gets transferred over. Like all these directories and the symlink are ignored with the Git repo. So the Git repo will only transfer the build scripts. It will not actually transfer anything else. I mean, I wouldn't know why, but it might be a bad idea, but seems really handy from what I hear. And though you might be a what now? I don't remember what I said. Did I say something incriminating? Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Anyways, license. I also have all the licensing that also gets symlinked to here, so I don't have to copy that everywhere. That's annoying to copy. I can set up a like portmaster specific directory. I could set up Steam here. I can set up like a kernel mod. I'm gonna probably do at some point. And yeah, so that's how the build system works. I don't actually need to do all that. Oh, well, you can see my toolbar now. Here, I'm gonna kill that window. I don't need that window anymore. But yeah, that's... So all these components come together so that I can... I can kind of like automate as much of building as possible. Normally, it's not a big deal if you're just making a single PCK game and you're mostly doing everything you do and you're just targeting PC. It's not a big deal. But when you're doing multiple PCKs and you have to transfer to a specific kind of device, having the tools to just automate that as much as possible really helps. Also, I have a high endurance SD card, so I can handle writing like megabytes of PCKs over and over again. But I still try to keep the writes down. And also it makes SSH transfers faster. It makes the build process faster. You can't see like the exports and stuff here, but one thing I'm going to do in a moment is I know how everything is lined up for the local binary. Like everything's just going to be sitting around in the root directory, and you're going to have like core PCK. You're going to have I don't have the symlink for this set up here, so I should probably set this up real fast. PCK Feywing Dungeon.pck for the working title. Okay, now I have that for x64. There's some setup that has to go into a lot of that, but once you get it out of the way, I did that off the screen. I don't have to worry about it. Your scripts and build systems are just going to depend on what game you're making. But now, suppose I know exactly what files I'm going to have coming with the game. And I could just do like, I could just do a packed string array. So I could do like PCK files, packed string array. And here I can just define every extra file that we're going to be loading in. This is going to be like what contains stuff like core PCK, assets.pck. I could just put Feywing's model in its own PCK, because I'm not going to change that a lot of the times. Maybe I will, though, but since I split a lot of this stuff up, it makes the export setup a little annoying, because you have to like kind of go in, like say, okay, I want this directory to be ignored for all these other ones and stuff. I think that there could be some improvements to Godot's multi-PCK working, but I think it's also gotten a bit better since before. But yeah, then I can just go like for path string in PCK files. And I could just go project settings dot. How does it work? Load resource pack path. And I guess just I don't remember if it does this or automatically or not, so I'm just gonna do that just to be safe. Replace files true offset. I don't actually know what the offset does. I think that's if for like very low level access. Like you actually can like, yeah, offset in bytes. I don't know what that actually, what tricks you can do with that. I'm sure there's something funny you could do with that, but yeah, by doing that, I could create just a easy, out of the way, and then, like, with this, I can also check, like, did this package load? Did these packages load, like, while we're going through? Did we encounter an error? And then I could, like, throw an error, just custom and whatever, and say, like, okay, this one was not found. That's the thing, too. I can situationally check if something was or was not found. And if that's a package I don't need, like, it's just some kind of, like, little graphics mod or whatever, that's basically, like, what Repainted does. In theory, you can say, like, okay, well, this is not here. Crop and Clock 2 actually does similar, where the demo is basically its own PCK. We can check if Crop and Clock 2's PCK, like the full game, is available. But if not, we could be saying, like, okay, that's fine. We don't need it. We can just run the demo. It's literally like how Doom WADs stack on top of each other. Another thing is I can say, like, const mod path. We could just, like, write down, hey, like, here's a mod path. And so we can, like, later on, I can go in and I could just check directories within... Oh, yeah, I guess I could just directly write this in, can't I? Yeah, like that. Then I don't need that. That's fine. Whatever. Either way, multiple ways to skin a creature. But now, it's nice to, like, do this sort of stitching. I don't need to have a million node children. Sometimes I don't want to have, especially abstract things, I don't want things to exist in the physical world. They are abstract concept. Loading from the command line is an abstract concept. PCK loading is an abstract concept. This is entirely just engine configuration, game configuration. So I can just have them exist in stray scripts. The scripts are possibly going to hang around in memory anyways. But by doing this, I at least save a few cycles, like not allocating a class or an object. I don't need to pollute the class namespace, like I said. And I can... There just kind of exists as part of the program. So, like, it's fine. I can just make it static. And I don't have to access this any other time in the program. It's very cool having that kind of setup is from the get-go is very nice. Yeah, once all the setup is done, like, then I can kind of just focus on actually writing the fucking game or the prototype. But your kernel and everything is gonna, like, depend, right? And speaking of kernel, I guess I should get to that part next. So when I write these systems, usually I have some kind of kernel scene, and this is its own, like, layered scene manager. It's gonna have a bunch of stuff to the root. But it's going to kind of be the communicator between Godot and the game. Obviously, the game is going to access Godot stuff just fine. I'm not going to be that strict about it, especially because I'm one person. I don't care. But, basically, go in, kernel. And I don't want to create a resource. I want to create a scene. The kernel's usually going to be a node. It's just another plain node. I don't need it to exist in physical 2D or 3D space. That doesn't matter to me. And the kernel gets its own script. Why not? Obviously, sometimes I will do embedded scripts for nodes. But that's usually situational. It's usually very, very specific things that don't require a lot of complex code, or it's just something I don't want to pollute my files with. This is a case where I'm willing to just give it a class name because whatever. And it's not, even though it's global, it's going to be, it's not global, but even though it kind of exists, it's going to just, it's not going to be a custom, or it's not going to be an auto load, because why would it be? It's a part of the real node hierarchy. So basically I need to get the game state initialized. The kernel's gonna like do its own wacky stuff when we get in here, but right now I don't care. Another thing too is like when I started up the bootloader, in theory I could jump straight into the kernel, or I could straight up move into some kind of splash screen, and you got like a wacky logos and they're animated and fun, whatever. And I could just hold off on the kernel location until then, if I really wanted to. But the point is that the kernel is where you start entering the main game loop. So I could just, for the sake of just going quick, function alloc kernel. I say alloc, it's not really alloc. How do I don't remember how to do scene management. Normally I actually do a lot of scene loading through one of my utility scripts, which I think are loaded in here. Yeah, I've got a bunch of utility scripts, which I refer to a lot. So I could actually just utils, scene, whatever. No, I don't actually want to do it this way. My utilities scenes... scene utilities, rather, don't actually have to, they are not really meant for changing the scene. This is actually a rare case where I'll actually change the game scene, because the root scene I rarely ever change. And honestly, that happens so rarely. I actually do have to check here, like, how the fuck do you... how do you actually change... Oh my god, I don't remember how to change the main scene. Oh wait, it's get tree. I'm a dumbass. Scene? Yeah, change. Right. Change scene to file. This is a rare case where I can just directly hard code it in. I don't care. Like when you're dealing with all the deep internals, you can hard code this stuff. It's fine. Whatever. Who cares? What you don't want to hard code is usually like the higher up you get. Then you want to start like modularizing. You want to start having little fancy inspector drops and whatever. So like here, I can go straight to the kernel once we finish. And Gorbash is funny. It actually has a weird system where it prepares a function that initializes the kernel ahead of time with the kernel as an argument, and then it like lambdas it in or some shit. I don't remember exactly how it works off the top of my head. I had a reason for writing it that way, and I don't remember why. But yeah, so this is it. This is like a basic bootloader, which allows me to get command lines, load PCKs, and then we can just switch it over to the kernel. And we could start doing like proper initialization and stuff. And the kernel is like where we might actually boot into an initial scene. And if I really wanted, I could say write command lines in the command line system, which says, okay, like instead of doing the normal boot process, we might override it and we might jump into a different kind of module instead than the default. I think for a while I was doing that with Crop and Claw 2, where there was an override to just jump straight into combat, but then I think I stopped maintaining that code and it kind of fell out of use. So everything in Crop and Claw 2 just goes straight to the title screen, and then from there it'll go straight to the menu. And the game loop kind of works from there. Dun, 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 dun. I remember Mario Kart DS is probably the Mario Kart I played the most. I remember like doing the map break where you can like jump out of bounds in Luigi Circuit. But yeah, so that's a bootloader. Time for the kernel. I'm gonna start with a very simple kernel. I have a module set up, and a module I kind of consider as like a big game state. Like here I'm considering this to be a module, which is like just the game itself. Crop and Claw 2 actually has 4 modules, I believe. There's the field, there's combat, there's menus, and then there is the scenario module, and that's used for like if you want to make a visual novel. And it's like allows me to just do arbitrary, wacky stuff on the screen. Solid Mario Kart, played it all the time in school. That shit was so high trust because you could draw your own emblem and then go online. There must have been so many wacky things just on there. And I don't remember many, but I could see it. I could see it. There's no way that could be done in a Nintendo game anymore. We already saw what happened when, like, Switches got hacked. And they found out that instead of just using, like, a simple index for your avatar, they just send the images, which is way heavier than it needs to be, first of all. And then, yeah, that lets you also just send arbitrary images. Because you could switch out the contents of your avatars on the local device, and then that's getting sent to the server. You don't do that in cybersecurity. You send, like, a 4-byte word or something, and the server says, like, okay, this person has, like, index, like, 3 avatar. And then the client is going to just refer to index 3 on their local system, and that would have avoided that whole mess. So, Kernel. Wait, do I not? Oh, I didn't actually put that on there yet. So, this is the point where I have to start considering the game states. And I have to say, like, right now, I could just treat this as, like, the root of the game, and then I could split this out further. Modules. So I'm saying this is, like, the game module, just for the sake of simplicity on my part. Module game. I am intending to write a simple module system that might be more, like, reusable. But I just haven't gotten around to that yet. So this is going to be a Node 3D. I could just call this GameRoot for now or something. Game 3D? I don't know. GameRoot? World root? I don't know. Well, no, that's actually confusing. Oh my god. GameRoot. It's GameRoot. I don't care. There's only one game. This is a very small game compared to other things. I'll leave all the refactoring headaches to my future self. So I know what I want roughly here. I could say to, like, init boot is going to just go straight into, or it's going to allocate the child scene utils dot scene load from path. I guess I could async it, but no, it doesn't matter. I have to make loading screens too. That's going to be a pain. Loading screens are annoying. I can just hardcode the GameRoot module for now. I haven't played Doom 1 in so long. Right. So, current module. If I want to only have one module active, I might have something like that. I could say active modules, and then, like, every child is a root. I seem to change the kernel every game. So I could say, like, modules. And I could just say, like... I guess we could just actually get children, can't we? It's fine. So I could say, like, new module is a node? Oh, right. Because the way I write this is actually a coroutine, I actually have to do it that way. It doesn't need to be. I think it's because... Right. Oh, right. I'm an idiot. Right. We don't actually have... It's been a while since I've, like, looked at my utilities for scene loading. I can load child. Modules is the parent. Utils scene load from path is actually going to be a function that I pass in. And I'm going to completely make a billion typos on the way to trying. Don't need that await anymore. That's going to be called from within. That's actually going to be called from over here because of the recursive thinging. Do after, callable, don't need that. But now this is just a nice way I can just kind of structure out how I want to load this scene. There's a reason I did it this way. I don't remember and I don't care. I think it's because load child just handles a lot of boilerplate. Like just getting the parents and the owner stuff set up. It just lets me not have to think about it. I could change the name if I really wanted to like GameRoot, just to be safe. I don't care. But importantly... Oh yeah, GameRoot is actually a type I specify here, so I could actually, like, return that. And I want to make sure I actually have a record of this. I don't care actually having a record of this, because no, it's fine. I need to do this. I don't want to be lazy that badly. I can keep track of my active modules and make a billion typos. If I wanted to, I could preload the module by just setting up directly into the kernel, but I don't like doing that sometimes. I want to like make it so that the game is building itself out dynamically. So it's just less to look at with the kernel. Usually I'm going to be looking at children's scenes anyways. All this structure does mean that it's harder to like run the game arbitrarily. But also, fuck you, I don't care. It's like modules.append init boot. I'll really name that to something sensible later. Alright. So now I have that all being tracked. In theory, I could like do other stuff later. Maybe I'll treat it like a proper state system rather than like a concurrent state system. I actually don't use state machines as much as you would think. I see a lot of tutorials, especially on YouTube, that are like, you must learn this one secret technique, and it's like a state machine, like the basic bitch state machine, and I actually don't use it that much, or I don't use them in that way. But that's, I use functionally the same thing, but there's always like these weird nuances, because I don't strictly adhere to OP, and state machines are a very OOP thing. So in theory, if I run this, well, actually, yes, save. I need to set the kernel now, or not the kernel. I need to set the bootloader to be the main scene. This generally means like the bootloader is always the same. I used the hell out of it, but hardly remember how to make it now. Yeah, I don't remember what was I talking about? Oh yeah, state machines. Yeah. They have purpose. I'm not saying they're useless. It's just. Now, in theory, if I boot this up... Okay, we immediately boot in here. Debugger's already yelling at me that I fucked something up. Oh, I have to, like, defer a call, I think. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Okay. But yeah, so you can see, like... We start at the bootloader, and we just immediately load in the module system and all that. And now that the entire game is basically loaded up. If you go to the project settings... which you can't see because I'm too lazy to change the window. You can actually filter settings to... Oh god, it changes every time. Run, was it? Application run. And then you remember that it's not an application run, so you dig around a little deeper. Editor run. There we go. And there's main run args, and that basically lets you do the command system, or the command line loading. So I can pass in the debug thing I made earlier. I just pass in -- debug. So I can go command line. And here I could say like print rich debug mode enabled. Just so I know that's working. And as you can see, it doesn't calls here because it's a big fucking asshole. And it lies. And it thinks I'm a dumbass. So I could just breakpoint. And scream as to what the fuck it's doing. Oh my god, I do not like the embedded thing at all. Too bad that it's like easiest. Well, first off, I'm gonna like do this. Remove child can't be called at the right. So I should call deferred, and I should do that instead. I just want to get that debug error out of the way. What are we doing here? What are you talking about? My guy, we're deferred. Whatever. Oh my god. Bad window. What the fuck? Guys, I do not like the embedded debug thing at all. Or the embedded window. I hate it. It's the worst thing ever. Did I not call this or something? Why is this not procking? Clearly it's procking, actually. Like, I see it happening here. Run. What the fuck? What the fuck? What is going on with this piece of shit? Why does this not break properly when you have the embedded window? God, I don't like that. Embed window on next. Can we still run this like this? Okay, that's still working. Module game. What? What the hell? System, you have one job. You're not even supposed to be reaching this. What is happening? Well, now I've got this wacky mystery music as I am hunting down what is breaking here exactly? My debugger is not showing me anything. Why is the window closing? I have never seen this happen before. What is happening? That's insane! Oh, wait. I think, hold on a second. Maybe I can't use debug. Like, specific. I think there might have actually been a Godot thing that's something like that. Let me just type God. So I'm going to switch debug flag to God. That's fucking insane, yeah. There's something in Godot. It's a built-in debug flag, I think. That might have been what was going on. Now at breakpoints. Okay. Okay, let me try to re-enable this and give it another shot, now that I know what was going on there. So yeah, now we're freezing here. Right. So you could actually see this spinning through. We get the arguments. They're stored here. 0 is a script. Then I've got my God parameter here. We can find that we have a match for the God command. And then we call that enable debug. We set it to true, and then we print out the rich messages. Debug mode enabled. Why is this not using rich text? Was this an option to use rich text? What? Oh, it's because I'm not actually using green. Color equals green. Just to... There we go. I can disable that now. It's fine. Yay, debug mode enabled. So now I've confirmed that happened, and I didn't just completely break Godot by using the wrong argument. There we go. Now I have my very, very basic kernel and bootloader. And what I want to do now is... Actually, I can't easily show this because of the windows. But I can go project setting export. I could go to off here. I'm setting up like, hang on. Maybe I could like, I'll just do this real fast. Good old window. Export. There we go. Oh, well, that was the runtime I just overwrote. Whatever, I'll fix that later. So here I can actually... Whatever. There we go. So here it's like I split up things. So I don't have an assets PCK yet. I'm going to set up an assets PCK. Assets. I want to export these. I think it was this one in particular, because the texture compression actually is used for. You need specific texture compression available for the retro gaming handhelds. They want a certain way it's done. But here I can say, like, we are not going to import everything. We're actually going to import select things. Select scenes and resources and dependencies. I can go in here. I could say, like, creatures. Oh, patch is still in here. I still have patches files. Because, like I said, that was available in the little, like, tech demo I was doing. I should just leave patch in here for ha-has. Why is Feywing capitalized? I don't like that. Hold on, I have to fix this. That's better. I just broke so many things. I'm sure I won't regret that later. Export. So let's like split off Feywing, because I know Feywing's gonna like not actually change that much. Maybe like animations change. Maybe we'll adjust some of the materials, but I can just package this stuff up. This is like 20 megs of stuff, I believe. So I can go export PCK, and actually I'm gonna like set up the actual build directory here. So you can't see me pointing it to my PCK directory, but I can say like Feywing dot. I have to like do that. It says this up here, but I'm never actually going to export a binary with this. I'm only going to export PCK or zip. You can use zip too. It's slower loading because it's compressed. PCKs are uncompressed, or they have their own compression or whatever. I don't know how it works. But I can just set that to Feywing.pck, and now I can go into here. I could actually go into assets, creatures. Let's see, I want to like just write this here for my own reference. Actually, I don't think assets.creatures.Feywing. I could wildcard that. I say export all resources in the project, except I can go in here and say filter out these. So I can filter out anything in the Feywing directory. And then I could export. I didn't want to export that. I'm an idiot. I just want to export the Feywing Dungeon PCK. And I want to export Feywing Model. And I could also put all the voice packs in there too, if I needed to. That'll let me kind of help chunk out stuff. You don't really need to do this. It's just by having separate PCKs, you can kind of like put things in nice places, and you could kind of gradually update chunks. Like I said, I do that this way because I have a specific build system involving the retro handhelds, and I'm trying to keep down build times. It adds up a little over time. So you can't see it here, but I've got like Feywing Dungeon PCK now is 15 megs. Feywing is like 10 megs. So now I don't, anytime I build Feywing Dungeon, like the root, I don't actually build 25 megs, 24 megs. I'm actually just building 15 megs, which are just other assets, because other assets are packed in right now. And I'm going to go into my... Hang on, like I've got my build assets, and I can say, you can't see what I'm doing right now, but I can say like export pack Feywing, which was what I named that package, Feywing.pck, and now I've just got like a nice build system where it'll just build everything. It'll ignore files that are belonging to other PCKs. It's the filtering that I kind of wish was better. There's like a patch system, but I don't really know how the patch system works, and I don't want to bother with it. Maybe that's the like cascade patches? But yeah. So that, and I could like make sure that all works and like fix whatever breaks later. And like I need to go into my PCK loading. Oh good, I already have Feywing.pck expected. And all the files are in the project here. So everything will run fine. But this is why I have to do run testing later. Like runtime testing is to make sure any dynamic PCK loading I'm doing is actually going to work. I have to make sure that all of those are going to load properly. So if there's an error, I can go in and say like, oh, it can't find this file because it doesn't exist. And then like depending on how you do it, you might have to like go in and like update missing files, or like say you add something to the Feywing directory, I have to go in and manually add that in there. It would be nice if I had like some way to like say, okay, this directory is perfectly allocated only to this PCK, and just like split PCKs that way. Unfortunately, I kind of have to just do it manually because there's nothing for that in Godot. But yeah, this means now I have a full GameState kernel bootloader, and I don't have to worry about that stuff now. That's just boilerplate. That's annoying to deal with, but I need it for every game I do. Because it just, as time goes on, I can kind of chunk out how the underlying systems of the game are going to work based on these. But I'm going to take a second and breathe now. So I'll be right back. I need to like get a drink or whatever. I'll be right back. The song was funny because you never actually hear it in Spyro 3 if you had the original version. I don't remember which version I had when I was really young. There were a lot of bugged soundtracks or just missing songs. Like, you literally go into the final battle and it just starts playing the first homeworld music, which is like Green Hill Zone or whatever. I feel like I want to breathe deeper, but I can't. Whoops, that's me. Dev, there we go. Oh, there we go. It took me forever to yawn. I felt like I wanted to yawn, but I couldn't. Alright, I have to set this back. What the hell? Interesting. Let's see, what window is this by name? That's Bootloader. When you like go over here and click this again. So trying to make this appear again, the game window, and first off I have to figure out where that is, or why is it not showing up? Just like switch over here real fast. Square, sunken ship. Feywing dungeon. Okay, yeah, that's all that was. God damn it. There we go. Okay, everything's back. So I don't know why he's asleep now. That's a little scary because I did not change anything. So why did you start sleeping? And why is all your fur not being cardboard cutted outed? That's bizarre. Got tired of waiting. He's sentient now. I was doing a horror stream. I wasn't expecting actual horror to start happening. Spooky? I don't remember if I changed the materials or something. It's possible I'm actually not using the... Like, I might have maybe wanted to play around with something and I just forgot. Oh, you know what it is? I moved... I technically moved the file by changing Feywing from capitalized to lowercase. Because I was too lazy to change that before, so I think maybe like some resources broke. That might be what happened. Maybe. Import, yeah, because like right now he looks like this. Use external. Right. That didn't update for whatever reason. God knows why. If I go in here, okay, material, material. Then we'll probably have to look at these to see if we can like simplify them to. Okay, yeah. Now you look like you. Okay, yeah, the materials are correct. I guess the animator also got weird because of all that. Feywing.exe. That's just the Windows version. Like, wait, adjust myself here. So I don't need to do much right now, but like one thing I've considered while I was thinking about things was that the way this game is intending to present is tile-based CRPG type of thing. And you probably know what I mean if you're like an old gamer, and it seems like a lot of people I talk to these days are old gamer who like played things like normie CRPGs on computers because they didn't play like funny Nintendo games or something. And the reason for that is actually a usability. There's actually two reasons. Usability on a gamepad. Remember that we are designing for retro handhelds and they do not have mouse and keyboard, surprisingly. So playing on a Game Boy SP form factor with no joysticks and one D-pad kind of sucks for first person. So by doing a tile-based CRPG strictness, we could do things like making it as we could just kind of simplify the control schemes. The other reason is because I don't want to like have to put effort into things. I am not interested in like learning or doing anything fun. I have done first person controllers for Feywing, like when learning Godot, like the original Feywing. And I had to hack that thing together and I didn't like doing it at all. Everything about it sucked, so I don't want to do anything like with free movement. So this is like just working around the limitations of what I can actually do. Because anything involving math sucks. I say this as someone who's probably going to have to learn A-star myself, possibly, for this project, but I'm not sure yet. At least if I want to like make the sorting algorithms or finding algorithms of movement easier. If I want to have things chasing you. Because I don't want to use the built-in nav mesh. I feel like the built-in nav mesh has screwed me over on multiple occasions. Also, it's a lot more expensive on hardware. So, what I should be doing, obviously everything's going to be like a Node 3. Maybe I want to have it so I have common functionality for anything that is called a Node 3D, or anything that is like being used as an entity like that. Whereas a physical space. So some of the ways that I write sideways GD script is I want to get a general purpose of what something might do or go through. Instead of writing like, the player can rotate left and right. The entity here can like rotate left or right. Let's like make it a generic entity class. Sometimes I do things like that, but sometimes I don't. I go based on my gut. And my gut, no matter how wrong it is, still manages to get me across the finish line sometimes. So I could say like entity. Whoops. Suppose I want to have certain common controls. I guess for the sake of, I'm going to call these commands for now. This is going to be like me storing a bunch of context about movement and things that might get shared across the different kinds of stuff. Did you find how articulate I am? So we'll say like entity move. What the hell is this song? Oh, it's Serena Beach. Sounds a little different here. This song was really weird. It always like gave me a weird unnerving feeling, particularly the way that stringed instrument works. So I'm trying to write a common functionality for movement. That means I should make everything a node, right? No, fuck you. No, I'm not making a node 3D. I am actually going to make it a rough counted because fuck you. I'm not actually going to worry yet about class names. And the reason for that, I could do like commands.gd. And this could be commands for things that are going to move around a lot, right? Like node 3Ds that I want bound to tiles and seeking around it stuff and like looking around. I can do stuff like this is again I'm namespacing, right? Like I treat static classes as namespaces. So I could do move, preload, entity move. So how am I going to structure this? Am I going to like pass in an entity? No, I'm not actually. Static func. We'll say turn for the second. I'll probably rename that something later. In theory, I could have like a turn value like left, right, and then by X amount of turns or whatever. Maybe I'd just do that for just the for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm figuring all this stuff out, right? Like I'm never gonna get this done on the on the first try. So I could say like I'm gonna say direction. That's not correct, but I'm gonna say direction. And I'm gonna say the degrees of actual turning is gonna be like direction times 90. I'm gonna get that floatified. And let's see. Oh, whoops. And I'm actually gonna do this to a particular target, node 3D. I have decoupled the functionality of this from any particular class. This is why I use static functions so much. It literally just needs to... Really, it probably could be done just to transform, but that, I think, like, is more than I really want to deal with. I could just think in terms of nodes and it's fine. So I could say, like, target, rotate Y by degrees. And right now, that's fine. I can also change this function so that it'll be async. So I can like gradually rotate until we reach the target. But basically, I can make the whole turning subroutine just in here. And any time I just arbitrarily call it on some kind of node 3D, I will know it will always operate as if it's a thingamajigger. This lets me just cut down code repeating over like different kinds of classes or having the rigid object-oriented approach. I like having static functions. I just like thinking of my program as a bunch of messy like commands that get executed. It does actually help a lot more than you think. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Fuck you. No, I don't actually care. I could also do like static func move and it'll be target 3D as before, but this time it'll be in a particular direction. Usually it's gonna actually be like, I could actually make it 3i, and that'll like let me, and then here I can like take the target and I could lerp from start to end, and I could just make that its own The thing is that's funny about this is basically, like, the way I'm describing movement here, this is basically how I do it in Crop and Claw, too, as well. Because it's just, here's a command that takes in that case, it's a field entity. Or no, it's field interactable, it's something. I think it could even just be node 2D, I don't remember. But, basically I can just feed it these arbitrary commands. as long as everything's structured right with the arguments, then I can kind of just do whatever I want. It's very fluid. It's a very loose way of doing things. So I could say target dot position, just global position maybe. Just for the sake of quick, I can just like add and whatever. Oh, right. Just for the sake of that. And then something else I can do. I know that there's going to be some structure to this, right? Tiling. I do this in Crop and Claw as well. Tiling is basically just its own little static class that's just kind of off to the side that contains a bunch of tile-related calculations. Things that will convert a tile to a world position and vice versa. Things that might get relative or absolutes of tile whatevers. Offsets, things. Checking if we're in line with a tile, stuff like that. I'll just call it tile for now. It's not going to stay that way. I'm just calling it that for the sake of me prototyping and going fast. I guess in theory you could put it in your commands. I could just call that something else, but I'll deal with that later. Actually, what I could do here, GameRoot const commands. Like, this is not what I'm going to do, but I'm showing like how I can eventually get access to the command list. Again, I just set up these. Whoops. Commands. Right? Oops. What? Huh? Why are you lying? Oh, it's because of entity, right? Okay, well, I'll deal with that later. So I could do like CMD entity. And then if I wanted, I could like, if I'm willing to do like singleton stuff, I can do like instance. Whoops, GameRoot. Actually, I don't even need to do that for commands, because think of it like this. Constant is already static, so I can actually access any command from anywhere with like just GameRoot.commandEntity.move turn. You see how I can like kind of loosely just grab whatever functions I need? I just treat them as commands I do, and then I can feed like, suppose this was an entity and not literally the world root. I could just pass in stuff like this. It's very loose, and I could just do it, and it doesn't matter. That's kind of the power of if you just stop thinking rigidly in terms of objects and you just kind of let functions be themselves. It's best when you have small functions that either are simple commands or that do nothing but like calculations. Like if that function just works all the time, every time, does exactly what you want it to in every condition, then that function is basically solved. And you can kind of write off bugs coming from it. And that means you can narrow down possibilities of where a bug is happening. Like if you have like 3 functions, right? And you do something in one and then another, and then there's something wrong with the last, and you're getting a bad result. You know that last one that you've solved basically is not the problem. And then you look at the other 2, and you see the input and output of the first one, and it's fine. But you see like something's wrong with the input and output of the second one. That's the issue. That's also why delaying your assignments as late as possible is also kind of good. You can kind of follow the logic and see where numbers are corrupting, and maybe then you can like find the issue. Obviously, you can't strictly do this all the time. Like, you can't be a perfect functional programmer in a game. This is not going to happen. You will drive yourself insane. It depends on the game in some ways, but kind of being able to like think that way makes it so you have like this very, very loose and powerful command system you just turn your entire game into. It lets me write systems very fast. Much faster when I'm off stream, of course, but whatever. So, like, I'm a player. I could say, let's start, like, building out the player. And the player's just gonna have some basic inputs so I can actually start testing these simple concepts. Ah, shit, the demons are coming. Entity. Really? I don't even need that. I could just go with player for now. Let's just go with a player. And I may do some OOP. Like, I may make a, like, master class for objects. Or certain kinds of, like, use cases. I'm not strictly against either OOP or, like, FP or whatever. I use whatever the fuck I feel like in a given moment. And I just, whatever makes it easier for me, I will use whatever hybrid technique I can. It's not like anyone's gonna touch this code base anyways, and if you do, well, get ready to suffer. I hate you. Player root. And I'll probably end up class naming this to something else later. Because, like, a player is a reasonable thing to just have on hand. You're going to be referencing the player a lot. You may as well just have a... You may as well just have some kind of on-hand quick ref. So here I could, like, say... on move start? Whatever. Signal move end. I'll deal with the, like, proper grammar later or whatever. Input. I want to start, like, breaking down and actually like giving player access to the turning and such. So I haven't actually looked at the inputs that I have here. I think they still use... Yeah, they use L and R. I'm just going to use the basic UI. Because they're always just in reach. Is press UI left, and I could consider that. And I could lazily copy and paste. And if I want to change it up later, I can. Right. GameRoot. Here we go. GameRoot. Command entity. I'm not going to keep that there. I'm just showing that's like how I do stuff. Move. Turn. Self. And because we are the Node 3D that we're going to be operating this on. And I don't know math. So I'm going to say -1 for left. And 1 for right. And this will cause problems. Like, I know that this is just me just trying to make sure I get input working. I have my gamepad right here. Like, a simple $20 Logitech, if you don't have a gamepad, will work. Rama. So I'm going to see if I fucked something up. And this is the part where I see what broke. Something broke, and it's not my fault. It's everyone else's. Let's see. So why are we fucking up here? Guys, the music for Pokemon Snap is really haunting. I don't know if anyone else hears it. There is something ominous to it. Maybe it is just because it was like one of my earliest games. And some of the sound font, like especially this song, there's just something very like melancholy about it. And then you hear like the sad Jigglypuff getting chased by the coughing. Input, why are we being a dick? Why are we not responding? It is input. Everything's right. So why are we wrong? What did I break? Why is player not playing? Funk? Input? Yeah. Can we, like, get a ready here? What the fuck are you doing? Pass? Let's drop a debug marker there to make sure we're executing that. Okay, we are. So, if I have this here on breakpoint, then that should also... What the hell? Oh! Oh, I think... Okay, that's what's going on. Again, I've never actually used the embedded windows for Godot. So you actually have to... If you're going to, like, manipulate in-game input, you have to... Right, that makes sense. That makes... I understand that. That makes sense. It's pretty low, but I do remember it kind of... Oh, no, not what I expected. Oh, hey, it almost works. So you can see, like, I'm able to turn now. And it's very generic because I just node 3D. It doesn't even have to, like, inherit a specific entity class to access this if I wanted to use it. I obviously fucked this up. Degreed to rads, I believe it was. I mean, I'm also confusing myself because it might not actually be degrees I'm going for. It might actually... I'm calculating the rads already. Okay, there we go. See? So now I've got turning. And here's how here's like the secret sauce. I could say... So I could say, like... I want this to be the target. Is this what I... Oh god, I have to, like, think now. And everyone knows how bad that goes. Target... How does rotation, like, Y... What is that? Knuckles here to beat the fuck out of me. Okay, so I see now, like, what these are. I want to make sure... I need to now make it so it's like... Obviously, this is snappy, right? And I don't want it to be snappy. I'm bad at video games. So I want to get, like... This is the target. Or... I should say, like, final rot. Whatever. Now, I don't have delta time here. Well, actually, I can get delta time. It's fine. Like, get delta. And I could actually get it from... What was it? Get tree... Oh, right. I don't have get tree available. I have to actually get this from... Oh, God. I have to, like, remember how this works. Root? Engine? It's in the engine somewhere. Knock, knock. It's Knuckles. Main loop. Root. Tree. Delta. Oh god. Get? Delta? There's a certain way you can get the delta time, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Actually, GameState. I can literally actually get this from the GameState because the GameState is actually a node. Tree. Delta? What the hell was the delta time getter? I don't remember. Hold on. Delta? Okay. Processing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. Get process delta time. So it's lying and saying... Okay, it lied. I was doing everything right. It was wrong. What are you fucking... Oh. So I could just... I'm just doing this real fast because I'm lazy. This actually lets me just quickly get the trees, the thing that lets me get delta time. And I'm just doing that so I can just set this bullshit up. I'm gonna do a while loop because I'm terrible. So if target dot rotate dot y not is equal. Okay, so if you've ever had issues with like floats where you're comparing the numbers and they're like very close and they're just not being considered equal, you actually don't want to use equal equal. You want to use like is equal prox or is zero a prox. The reason is because floating point math is actually imprecise and a piece of shit and not very good for that. So if you just get close, you can have the engine kind of like round it for you. While not is equal prox, and I want that to be near the final rot, and I can actually target rotate Y. I have to like think of how this. Is there like a move towards, but for. I'm being very weird about this. Because I don't do a lot of like math, physical math, and even basic shit confuses me. It also doesn't help that a lyrical song has just come on. Well, this gives me a moment to actually think. Everyone could like listen to that. Right, okay. And I want these two. Right. And then get delta.call. So that way I can like actually dynamically fetch the delta through this proxy callable. And then I want to make sure I actually set this. Oh, that's not going to work because that's going to be, yeah. I'm going to cut that out. Or actually, I'm not going to cut that out. I'm just going to like, this will let me know. I know this is not going to work. I'm just, and then I could, right, GameState, get tree, process frame. Because I want to wait every frame and we'll just make this a gradual thing. Okay, let's see how this breaks. It broke. What? Invalid access to a thing that I had valid access to. You are out of your mind. What the fuck are you talking about, fucking asshole? Oh. Oh. I see how it lied. Okay. It was not my fault at all. Never. I'm just gonna let that run for a second. Okay, I turned on a light. Now I'm not in the darkness anymore. It's nice and cloudish outside. It should be raining and storming, though. Like, if I'm not afraid that the stream is going to go off because the internet dies or my power or whatever, like, it's not stormy enough. Okay, so I knew that wasn't going to work. I knew that was going to be a problem. Because I'm being very lazy about this. I'm also just not very good with anything related to math. Ouch. We are moved towardsing, though. But yeah, I get it. Because, like, we're not setting the Y. We're actually... We're actually, like, getting... Can I, like... I don't think this will work. It's just shitty to walk off there or something. Kind of, actually. Does it work this way too? No, it doesn't. And this is because of the degree to rads thing. Because it's weird and complicated. Right, because like degrees is like the 360 thing. Rads is like... Radians are like some weird mechanism of mathy things that I don't know if it's like more optimized or if it works better with... I don't understand it. I don't care to understand it. The alternative is I don't care right now, and what I can do is I can also actually do the translation's easy, right? Like translation is just you move. And later I can do things like, should it be a relative or an absolute move? So here I'll just do absolute. So I don't have to consider like the direction that they're moving in. So I start with strictly moving. Player root. And then similar to how it's just exact press UI up. Let's do that for forward real fast. GameRoot. There is another thing too. So you don't like just like regular namespacing or whatever. I don't actually have to type all this. I can, in theory, just do like const move, and I could shortcut that. It's just synaptic sugar, syntactic sugar, whatever the term is. And I could say like vector 3 dot forward. I believe it's an I, but yeah. So I could say that, and this is going to be global, so I'm not going to care about accuracy right now. See, movement's so much easier than rotation. Whoever invented the concept of rotating is a bad person. I could just use the English ones. So I'm going to make sure I didn't fuck this up somehow. Yeah. So we move. The rotation is still bucked. But now we could do like... God, that is nauseating. But here's where it gets funny. Okay. Lerping isn't that hard. Move. Global position equals. Could just do like that. And lerp. Towards like the target, which I could just set destination to... I guess we know what that is, so global position plus that, all that nonsense. So we're going to add these two because it's going to be absolute. It should be relative, actually. I'm an idiot. Whatever. I just realized, like, there's two kinds of relativities in this case. So we could just check, are we in range? Or, like, are we at the target global pos is equal approx target dot whatever dot fuck destination. So just like before with the rotation, that doesn't actually work. I can... Do I want to multiply this by... I guess it would be like speed. Like temporarily I'm going to shove a speed variable here. Float. Let's just say like 3, whatever. Dir times speed times... We need to get the delta time, which I'm just going to copy paste for the sake of funny. I guess this is actually a little more efficient if you want to be really pedantic, because instead of like GameState get process delta time, we Well, here it's not so bad. Because we already have access to the callable, I guess. So you don't have to make the jump and ram to find the object, and then you find the... And then again, it all points to engine stuff, so maybe it's not fine. None of this actually matters for this level of performance we're going for. But in some cases, it might actually, like if you're doing something really intense, it helps to not have to jump 2 references if you can just jump 1. Huh? Oh, right. Vector. Right. There's actually a vector version, but it's like object-based, and it's weird because of that. Like that. Right. Target global position is equal to prox. And then I can just await the process again. Yay. Yay, 2. So now I can see, is this... Now, what did I fuck up? I wasn't supposed to turn. Well, something's fucked. What did I fuck up again? Oh, right. So I didn't actually finish the tile implementation. Because there's, like I said, I was saying earlier, like, I was going to put tiles in, and that's, like, where it's going to store all the tile space, and, like, that way I can keep all the tile logic in one spot. I'm going to store that here, just for testing. Is it... Do I want to multiply that, or... Yeah, that's fine. So let's say... I think it's like a unit of 2. I think a tile, in this case, is like a unit of 2. 2.0, rather. I'm going to make it a float. And I want the destination to be multiplied that way. And make sure we don't fuck that up. So that should be relative, because now this is going to multiply the direction by the tile size. This lets me do some... It's wrong! Why is it fucked up? Why the hell is it not working right? Target global pos? What on earth are you doing? Everything is wrong. And this is pretty much how I do all my debugging, is I screw up something because it involves 3D space or math or something that I can't do. Then I have to figure out why. So we are not, this should not ever be equal right here. I need to, like, actually see what's happening. If you've never really messed with debug flow, I can't even imagine 3D space map. Yeah, 2D still kicking my tail. I can't even do 2D math, but it is a little easier. You don't have to deal with some things, but yeah, I hate math. I literally cannot do math. I always forget all the math things. That's right, I need to see how many frames it's actually procking, and like why it's killing right after. Yeah, because this is multiplied by the speed, and why is tile size null? Now the game's taunting me with this clown music. Clown forest music. Whoops. This is a vector 3. Destination is -2. We shouldn't be equal. We should not even be close to equal, so we shouldn't be breaking it. We're clearly, like, continuing to try and run. So it's continuously updating the position, but why are we not... Yeah, see, like, we're going back and forth every frame. There's, like, someone out there to solve this, like, already know how to solve this. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm still forgetting that tweens exist. I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. I'm so used to doing this the old-fashioned way. So I can literally just do this. So tweens are a thing. Equals, like... We'll have the target create a tween. Because it's local to them. I want them to just have it. Tweening lets you property thingify. I know they exist and I just always forget. It's like tween property on the target. And I want to manipulate global position. And I want them to go to the destination. And I want that, okay, that you could set this by time. I've been making this so complex. Way more complex than it needs to be. Finished? Yeah. So we can actually await finished. I'm going to actually hold on to that. I believe that should immediately start it. Tween.start. Is there like any play or start? Like, okay, so there's a play. I don't need speed anymore. And there we go. Way, way easier than I was doing it. Even, like, does it smoother. And this is the smoothest way that I could do tiling in Prop and Claw 2, so I guess that makes sense. And now what I can do... Await tween finished. And this lets me... I could basically do things like... I can make it so that you cannot interact with things while moving and stuff. I'm gonna need something like that anyways. So I'm gonna say like disable... Input disable... flag or whatever. And depending on how I want to do this, I could either set a start and end callback in here, or I could just do all this here. So I could do stuff like, say, do thing, and I could make this into a function. It's going to take a callable, which is going to be like what it actually wants to do. And we'll just void it. It's fine. And I'm basically writing I'm actually writing a wrapper here, kind of. I don't know if there's a proper term for it, especially in functional programming terms, but I'm writing this little wrapper where I execute something, or I want to execute something, but I want something to happen before and after, and I just want to automate like all that boilerplate. The easiest way would be like input disable. Input disable equals true. And then I could like await this. And then input disable equals false. This sucks. I don't want to do it that way. So what I can do is I can actually set that in here, in this little lambda. Func do thing. And I could say input disable equals true equals false. This is like one way I can like manage this state. Because again, you do need to do mutations at times. But like I'm not really controlling how I'm doing my mutations right now. But I could say like fn call. I can await fn call. I don't know what the callable is. I don't know how it works. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't care, actually. You'll find that I actually don't really care about a lot of things. But now it's like do move, turn, bind. And now I'm binding all that into a single call. And whoops, I need to do thing call. because it's referencing this. It's not like a member of the class. Boing, 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 boing. I'm not sure if it was intended for those to sound like the springs, but it sounds like the springs. Like, I always feel like you're being bounced around Hang Castle when you hear the music. But you can see now, look at that. I was able to do what takes 3 lines of repeated code over and over again just because I was able to bind arguments to a function and then, like, put that function into a parameter to be called later. And so now, anytime, if I do this properly, if, you know, input disable, you know, we could just return. So if we get an input, we're just gonna drop it if the player's busy, if the player's input's been disabled or whatever. Normally, I actually put player disabling on workram because workram is global and anyone can actually, like, change it. So we can just, like, set or unset it. And then I could find all sorts of bugs that happen because of that, where the player just stops being able to move. And then I tear my hair out. And see, like, I'm actually pressing both buttons, but... Or, like, I go here and I'm on the gamepad. If I had an interact button that only listened while I wasn't moving, I could do it. I don't have to check if the player's moving now. And I don't have to check for, like, if the player's turning, which turning's all fucked up, but still. And we can actually watch this happen. I can set this. So I'll set to UI up. We'll actually, like, watch this, like, how this flows. So I press up. And we stop here. Do thing is being called. With move absolute move being binded, thrown in here as an argument. Do thing is that we go in. See how we bounce up here to the lambda we defined earlier. I say we, it was me. I'm the one that's been doing all the work. You guys have just been watching. We set input to disabled instead of setting it down here in all these branches and creating a mess. And now we await, and we're just gonna, like, do the tween. We're gonna set up the tween and we're gonna await until the tween is finished. We return from that subroutine, or we don't, because it's the debugger's currently gonna, like, go through all the GD scripts because, like, that's just how this works. But once it finishes, we can then, it'll then just stop. It'll hit here and do that again, and then that. That's really annoying. It doesn't really, like, show that. Oh, that doesn't really help sell what's going on, but either way. I've been helping. Remember when you blamed me for that thing? You probably broke something, yeah. I don't remember. Probably. There's, like, 7 different ways people break things. Actually, my coding convention is whatever I feel like coding at once. So if I just input disabled, return, whatever, that's fine. It's 1 line. There are times I will break it to 2 lines like a sane person. I do not like tab-based syntax, guys. I really don't. Yeah, so aside from the fact turning is all fucked up, I think, how do I do this? How can I tween rotations? I know it's possible. I've done it before. I want to, like, pull up a thing to see if I can, like, tween rotate Godoro Forbo. Oh, it's all gonna be like 2D rotation. 2D rotation is so much easier than 3D rotation. Maybe I can get a sense of it. Rotation degrees. Wait, you can set these? Hold on. I have to, like, think of how this works. Hold on. Okay, I don't need the delta. Tween. Right. Let's just do copy paste bullshit. Rotation degrees. So can I do that? Is that a thing you can do? And then I guess you can actually give it like a little bit. The code here is using a transition to like ease in. It's a ease in. I think an out to might be nice if this works out. I'm literally copy pasting code off of Stack Overflow or something. Reddit, whatever. I'll wear my dunce hat later once I know this works. I don't know why I did that. What? Ease in, out. What are you talking about, liar? Okay, I'm just getting... Fuck the transitions, I don't care. I can await, tween, finish. If this works, I'll be amazed. Because wow. Also, if you look at the... You can actually see, like, how the delay is working. You can see it's awaiting for the tween to finish before it drops EA. I never knew this was a thing. Oh, this is so nice. I didn't know you could set rotation degrees like that. It's still not working right. There are still problems with this. I need to figure it out, but... Right. Okay, yeah. Because of this. Right. Okay. Or not this, but... First off, I don't need that anymore. Degrees. I need to get what we are at now. Something I can actually do. This would probably be a part of the tiling system for me to determine what direction a character is facing. I can check if we are approximately... I have to think of this. Y posture map. Direction, all caps for some reason. Oh, right. Dictionary is what I wanted. I'm gonna check for a float. And that will correspond with a certain int, which I can later on, like, make it a cardinal direction. This is a dictionary. So what I can do is I can, like, associate a certain direction with a certain direction flag. And I'm being very weird about this. Oh god, numbers, man, they're not real. 2. I want to say... Oh, man, that's actually going to be an issue. Because I don't know if it's going to be negative or positive with, like, 360. That's actually going to cause problems. So I don't know if I want to tableize this. Maybe I want to actually do math. Hold on. We have a starting degrees. Start Y, whatever. Which is targets, rotation degrees. Yeah, I've never noticed that before. Global rotation degrees? Can we, like, maybe do that? I guess we could actually just use local. It's fine. I'm going to use local for now. Maybe I'll change it if there's some reason to change it. So we have our start Y. We can use the start Y and calculate if we are like... Right. And we could say... Okay. And Y plus degrees. Right. I'm surprised this even works. Hello, Feywing. Bear in mind the directions are reversed than they should be. Oh, this song. This song always gives me chills. Is it the, this one, right? The, Eterna Forest? I get a spooky feeling from it. I think it is because of the old chateau. I remember it was like 2007 or 8 or something, and I was at my grandma's, and in the computer room. I had my DS, I had Diamond. I remember looking at all the, like, Mystery Zone stuff, and, like, I was looking at some stuff online, and I found out about the ghost of the old chateau. I remember the first time I saw him, and, like, chills ran down my spine. I did not have to discover that on my own, so I was playing ghost hunting myself. But yeah, so I can now go in here. I'm going to switch the turning. And my movement is still relative and not absolute. Yeah, so it's like one of those songs that's calm, but it also is eerie. Like, there's an eeriness to the calm. It feels... But yeah, so like here we go. Now all the tiling system is technically functional. It does hitch when you hit the end of the tile. It's very subtle. It's probably easier to see on mine than in it. But that's fine. And basically, because of how I wrote this, these are very generic functions. They just listen for, like, goes to a node to 3D. Whatever. And that, as a result, I could do things like... In theory, if I wanted to, I could, like... Well, actually, here's the thing. These are commands for a node 3D that I'm basically treating as the root for the various objects that could be around the room that might move around. Like, I could have Feywing also use these because he's just going to have a root of a node 3D. And there's no difference. I don't have to copy-paste this code. I don't have to do any inheritance. These functions work a certain way. I know they work a certain way. They always will work that way. They will never work differently. And so, if I wanted to, I can make these basically, like, bug-free forever because I know how they work and they know there's a specific scope to them. This is why I like static functions. This is why I write in such a weird way. Well, there's other reasons why I watch it write a weird way, too, but... And now I have to figure out how to have move relative. Based on what player direction is, or like whatever entity direction is. Relative. And this is where I get really bad at math because it involves also... Well, something I could do. So now that I know we can get this, I can map out the cardinal directions. And from there, I can kind of work what forward means. Or I could change it here, maybe. Oh, right. One thing I wanted to do. Where's the module root? Tiles. This is not an entity thing, I would say. I'm going to call this the whatever folder. And that's going to cause me a lot of problems, so I'm not going to call this the whatever folder. I'll put this in tile for now, it's fine. Tiles.gd. Again, not going to name it, not going to do anything with it. At least not in that regard. I am instead going to say, I'm going to have like say static func. Oh, no, actually I need to start with const. I need tile size. Tile size is going to be 2 world units. It's going to be 1 tile. And I could do tile half size equals tile size divided by 2. It's going to pre-calc, I believe. Tile double size. Don't mind that all just slapped together. Tile size times 2. Just in case there's some reason I want to double or halve. Sometimes I actually do want to do that, like I'm doing offsets. And now I can say I can get something's physical position in the world, and I can calculate what the tile would correspond to. And this is interesting because I can actually set up a digital map, something that's not, like I could have a dictionary of tile coordinates. I could have the object move in real world, or I could have it move in this like virtual map with tiles. And I can just have the two like understand where each other are, because I can just keep these calculations all separate from anything. I'm not even going to check like, I'm not even going to check like the node, because I don't need to check a node, right? I could just use vector 3s, because vector 3s can store like just generic information. So again, I'm finding ways to like decouple as much as possible. I'm trying to make this as mathy as possible. Oh, hang on. Okay, so a sandwich just showed up. I'm gonna eat this sandwich real fast. It looks really good. I'll be right back. Oh, well, that was a surprise sandwich. My grandma made like tuna and lettuce and tomato and bread. Okay, hopefully I didn't miss anything. Well, hopefully I missed everything. That's the wrong thing. That's the right thing. What the hell was I? Oh yeah, so tile size, math. I don't want to, like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know everything that, like, I don't need to know about nodes when I'm just trying to calculate, like, what is a real place tile versus what is a not real place tile, whatever. So I could do something like world to tile or something. I think I usually say position to tile. And I could say like vector 3. Position vector 3. I can even just use position because it's not a local member, because I'm a static class. I don't have the concept of a member. I mean, there is no instance that has position. So on stuff like that, you can't normally do. You have to worry that you're going to like conflict with the internals, and it just makes your code weird and readable. But this way I could do this. And it's really, whoops. Vector 3. I can even just vector 3i, honestly. Because I want my tile... You don't have half tiles in this case. Like, I want my tiles to be pretty much consistent. So I could say it'll just be a vector 3i. And I could, like... I don't remember if there's a way to do this cleanly. I think I just have to be normie about it. And I could say position to tile. I'm going to... Do I want to multiply by... No, if I multiply, that's... Right. I have to be careful because of the division aspect of things. Because if you divide by 0, things go bad. Well, that's actually fine, because I have divide in my utilities that is a safe division. Div. Yeah. So I could theoretically do that. So I can divide down my physical position as like, let's see, position. I'm an idiot. I'm actually complicating this. I could do vector 3i position div. Wait, no, yeah, I do have to do that every axis if I want the safety of it, damn it. Or do I? Wait, maybe vector division actually automatically handles division by 0 safely? I guess let's just try that and see how it works. Sure, let's try that. Vector 3i position divided by tile size. I don't remember off the top of my head. Static func tile to position, where I do literally the opposite. Vector 3 return vector 3 tile times tile size. That way I know that it's going to be ints or floats, depending. And in theory, I want to like test this with position to tile because we're doing division here. I don't want the debug overlay. I just want to test and see. Let's go to... Right, I want to change this to move relative. No, actually, I want to stick to absolute right now. I'm going to do relative in a moment. because I wanted to get the tile stuff out of the way. So what I could do is GameRoot, command entity. Wait, no. Where did I put the tiles, refs? Oh, I didn't. Tiles? Right. Right. Move. Absolute. Position. Okay. So I'm just temporarily pushing this here. Where target, global position. You see how I'm just passing in generic values? Or not generic values, generic types. I want to make this as simple as possible to like just keep all the math isolated. And so I could say like print debug, and I want to see like what comes out of that. I want to see if like if I run into a 0, is there going to be an issue? Like, will the thing freak out? No. Seems not. So you could see... Right. You actually see, like, in the bottom how... it's able to, like, figure out what virtual tile I'm on based on, like, where I am. Yeah. So that actually works. So there we go. It's like I don't need to do anything too crazy. I just need 3 coordinates, and I can say this coordinate is on this tile or it's not. And later on, I can do things like checking if they're aligned. So like if there's an object that's not aligned tile-wise, I could correct that in the future, or like use that to like pick up that there's some kind of error happening. Okay, now comes the part where I have to deal with relativity, and I don't want to deal with that. Trying to check and... Right. Okay, I remember what I was going to do. So, first off, I can actually import this stuff now. So, like, GameRoot, tile, I can refactor this later. Tile size. I can move in this stuff. Might even be able to do this, maybe? I don't really want to do that, though, because it's long. In fact, I could just copy this out of here. And now I have access to the tile size, just as a quick reference here, without all that extra fluff. And it all just comes from here. So now, this controls, like... It doesn't control anything, actually. It's a tool set, right? Like, I'm building out a toolkit. And I'm just trying to make sure that I'm building high-quality tools. So that, like, if I hit something with a hammer, I don't want the hammer to break. So I want to make the math clean. I want to make everything clean if I can. This stuff is so painfully simple. In fact, it just begs for me to complicate it further. And I could do things like, this is what I was going to do. I needed to like, figure out relativity based on a player's angle. Or, like, any entity's angle. I could do things, in theory, like... I could have an enumerator for a direction. And this is, again, like, something that is done in Crop and Claw. There's actually a couple of things I could do. I could literally just copy some of the code from Crop and Claw. Like, I could literally copy in flags. Like, the direction flagging is hilarious for Crop and Claw. Because I use bit masks for that. And I use that for a lot of weird, like, little programming tricks and bitwise manipulations to kind of simplify some logic. I'm just going to stick to this for now. And if I need to import it, I'll deal with that later. Is it like... Right, I always forget what enumerator syntax is. East equals 2. West equals 4, I guess. Why not? You know what? Fuck it. I'm actually gonna steal my code from Crop and Claw. I'm actually gonna commit fraud. Crop and Claw 2. Crop and Claw 2. Where does it go? Modules, field, commands. No, it's not in commands. Am I actually responsible in the Crop and Claw's code? Stolen code. Yeah, I steal my own code a lot. Field entity. Nope, nope. Where's the tile system? Oh, it's just in the root. That's why I can't find it. So I can do... So first off, I start by... In Crop and Claw, and this is the code I'm going to be like pasting in. I literally have just predefined bit masks for a lot of things. And then I have... I don't really need the like, double cardinals. Like, I don't need southeast and stuff, but I'm probably going to drop this in here anyways. I'm sure I won't regret that later. There, now I have all that in. Something that helps with debugging is actually another piece of code here. Stringify, that lets me just get a sense of, like, what is coming out. Because otherwise it'll come out as, like, an integer. And the number's not going to help me. I don't care what the number is. But this is what I mean. See how, like, easy it is to, like, copy some of this stuff in because it's just static functions with no state care? Like, if your thing takes, you know, a specific thing, that's maybe you're going to have to also need that class, because that's just how that works. But if the less you rely on for, like, complex stuff, the easier it is to literally just, like, rip code out of one source and into another. Like, if I want flip, I could bring in the flip map. I use a flip map in, like this. Where I'm lazy and I just have a constant flip map because that's never gonna change. So it's like, hey, I want the opposite of this direction. So it'll just take the opposite and just flip it. And it doesn't need to do any complex math. I literally just have a table it references. I can move this up here. Starting to look actually like I'm really just ripping out a lot of Crop and Claw 2 stuff. Oh yeah, Crop and Claw 2 actually has a vector 2 for its tile size, but I don't care. I'm not gonna like have different tile sizes. I don't care. Dun 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 dun. Face direction from position. Right. So I may, if I need that, I'll deal with that later. Snap to tile chords might be worth having. It's just that it has to be a vector 3 instead of a vector 2. Return tile to position. I can kill that comment. I don't think that comment matters. Oh, whoops. Return vector 3. Right. And this is just a nice utility I have had too, which is like, if something's ever misaligned, I can just call snap to tile chords. It'll take that position and it'll return the position, but as it should be with the tile. Things like that are just good. Like, having just raw mathematical safe fixers just helps. You can see how much actually went into just doing tile movement in Crop and Claw. You could see, like, this isn't even all of it. Like, I'm literally selectively ripping stuff out. But this is basically the idea behind it. I do a bunch of crazy stuff to just make tile management on a very abstract level, so I don't have to think about it too hard. Anyway, speaking of thinking about things too hard, now I have to figure out how to deal with relative movement. I think tiles are gonna have that information. I did put tile relativity directions in there in Crop and Cloud 2, so I'm probably gonna do it here. Since I have directions, I can like work with those now. That might be a little less abstract. I have to like think for a moment. Get forward? Well, no. First, I need to map out how this is gonna work. Float to direction. This is how I'm gonna get. Okay, this is what I was trying to do earlier, and I had to like think it through, and it was weird. Oh wait, I can't do a static map for this now. I have to do this dynamically, because this is like related to relativity and math and bullshit like that. Some jackass invented. Relative forward? Tile? Position? Vector 3. Okay, relative forward position, vector 3. Target position. It's also going to be a vector 3. I could literally actually just... No, right, because I need the angled as well. So this is actually a case where I need the angle. I'm going to do my weird thing here. I hate tab-based languages so much. Vector 3, just go with that for the moment. Just do that as well. Okay. Based on the angle, it's going to influence whether or not... First off, let me, like, map out how this works. I need to, like, know... I need to know what angle corresponds to what. So here... Print and Y, because then I know, like, what is what. You're lying. Return target position, that's fine. So, what direction am I at? I need to, like, actually make sure I'm getting this right. What direction am I at? This is forward. Okay, this should be forward. Like, this should be the default forward. Pay no mind to the arrow here. Left is 90. Straight is 0. Minus 90 that way. Okay, I really gotta be careful about this. Oh no, it's doing the bullshit where it... Oh no, why does it not... Okay, I need to actually make it clamp down. That's really annoying. That's really fucking annoying. I don't like that. Right. Rotation this is not gonna work as well as I'd like. I hate everything, and including video games, and especially video games, without a fucking doubt. I hate video games. What? Now we're not even like... How did this get offset? What the fuck? I hate video games. I can close this real fast. I actually don't know how much longer I'm going to be up. I could just go based on the node. I could just like concede and go based on the node and get the local forward. There is a way to do that. I don't remember how. Maybe the transform. Get local forward. I should probably specify go to. Local space vectors. Basis, right. That might be it. Okay. I have to press a lot of buttons now. Okay, close that. Close that. Aggressively close everything that I'm looking at. Debug overlay, go away. Go away, go away. I could go based on... I could actually just use this with the entity stuff, and maybe I can get the forward basis, and then I could just jump ahead and use that, and then I don't have to deal with tile stuff. I'll just do it this way, maybe. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh my god. This is why I have to burn things to disks, is because I get lost in my file system so easily. Ouch. Okay. Move. Move. Right, okay, so... Static Funk. I'm gonna start with move forward just to test this out. And I'm not gonna care about that right now. I'm just gonna test for moving forward. I want to know I can move forward, because once I have the idea of what forward and back are, I'm fine. Target. Global. What was it? Oh, fuck. Global transform basis. Basis is the local back direction, so I want minus that forward. Okay. And now I have to figure out what the fuck this means. Like, what I'm doing. I can copy all this. Right. Because basis is like, it's like... Okay, I'm vaguely, like, remembering how this works. Barely remembering this. I think I could replace this. Or, no, I think it's with this. now I'm gonna move forward to okay. Oh wait, I'm not copy paste that bullshit. I don't care. Yep, just die already. Move forward. Self? Only self. Don't need any other information because we're getting the basis and that's all that matters. In theory, this means I should be able to walk forward. Like that. Okay, that works. God, I'm so genius. I figured that out all by myself without looking at the internet, definitely. And then, obviously, moving back is just the opposite of this. Right, so back is obviously going to still move a certain way because that's fixed. Da, 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 da. So I have to make relative actually pay attention to this. I could make this just like I could make these two separate things for the axis just to make it simpler on my brain. Basis vector 3. I could do it like that. Position vector 3, basis vector 3. Oh, wait, no, we because this is the command to, like, actually mutate it. We're not calculating, we are actually trying to do the thing. I can move calculations elsewhere, though. Okay. Okay, and then I can selectively input whatever I want here. So I can bind. I'm starting to, like, remember how this works. Move relative. We could, damn it. Right, we copy this. See, now I'm decoupling the basis from the, so I can just make that nargs. Self, so we just minus that, it's fine. So now I could select which basis I'm sending in this way. It's not ideal in the way I'm doing it here, but that's fine, I would say. I don't need to overcomplicate that, I don't think. And I could do the same here. This way, this one could be backwards, because it's backwards. I'm really winning awards for creativity tonight. I hate anything to do with math. And, like, positioning. Okay, now backwards works. And that seems to help. So now I've basically made an entire classic RPG. I can just put this on itch and wait for the money to roll in. Perfect. There is another trick I could do. Because I saw the thing get a little offset, and I didn't like that. That kind of thing makes me uncomfortable. So at the end, when the tween finishes, if it wasn't something else that I screwed up, I can then just say, like, hey, target, dumbass. Let's rotation. Oh god. Rotation degrees dot y. So I could just, like, I know where we're trying to go to, but if it ever stops prematurely or somehow, or some weird thing happened, I could just snap it. That way I can just always be sure that I don't have some weird thing going on here. Like, it should always be... Damn it. What? Oh, right, because I didn't turn. I don't even know how I managed to do it the other day. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to, like, I'm going to have to, like, change the radians so that they're not... Or not radians, the, like, whatevers. Like, I can't really predict when they're going to reset or not. Like, I'm watching those coordinates not work right, and that's weird. But sometimes they do, and I'm not exactly sure when that happens. And it's like, when I see something I don't entirely understand the pattern of, I'm like, that's like, going to create a huge bug for me that I'm not going to be able to solve for, like, 5 hours. Like, right there, now it's offset. But, yeah, see, thanks to my little correction there, I do a hard correction at the end, I was able to, like, just make it go back. Oh, it looks like for some reason there's some weirdness with turning on the model. Okay, no, it's not. That is, like, so weird. I don't know what's causing that, and it's going to kill me. But since I'm correcting after I move at least once, or turn once, like, I know things aren't going to get offset over time. Like, I know there's not going to be a build-up. So there's at least some error correction happening. And so that's, like, one way I try to defensively fix errors that are happening that I just have absolutely no hope of fixing. Start Y and Y. I can move this over here. We don't need that. And I don't need to allocate that, so that's fine. Do I? No, okay. Okay. Well, I think that's... I'm gonna, like, build this a little bit. Just to kind of, like, be able to get the sense of space for things. So, luckily, Godot's CSG thing is kind of fun to mess with. It does well enough, so I can, like, quickly prototype stuff. I could just build out some really quick environments. I could proc gen. I want to do proc gen because then we could, like, make this game, like, be able to play forever. Like, you could, it's like infinite games, right? In one, if you just proc gen the environment. And that would just be nice. So I could do, like, bring that down to 2. Put it right there. I'm holding control to snap everything. And now I could actually play Doom with fitting music. Oops. There's obviously no collision checking, so... And, like, to do that, I would need to, like, probably mimic what I do with... it looks like I didn't actually build these out on the tile alignment properly. Just move that here. Maybe that'll be fine. I just need a gun now. I need to make sure that these are also designed in such a way that... Obviously, I'd use grid maps or something to get a proper tiling system. But I could see a horror game working with a cute Feywing following around. And see, since I wrote all that code so generically... Yeah, Feywing's backrooms. All that code I wrote is so generic, right? It's just Node 3D. So I can apply some very, very basic stuff. To, like, give Feywing, like, the ability to follow me. And he'll just follow me. Because I just have to give him, like, if the player moves here, then, like, let's have Feywing tile move towards the position he used to be in. And I could kind of do things like that. And, like, maybe some other trickery to kind of get a mimicky... I think I might actually try that next time, maybe. That might be fun to try out. Hold on, I have, like, a list of stuff here. Oops, that's actually not done. That's, like... Just, like, trying to, like, do this so I would always have, like, a reference to look towards. So the bootloader is done, at least the basics of it. Tile movement is done. Tile turning is done. Depending on the gameplay, might be good to have stray finger and quick 180 turn, maybe. Yeah, like L and R could probably use that. First person PMD, but your partner gets lost and you don't notice until it's too late because it's first person. Oh, yeah. Like, fucking Trico is gonna, like, walk off and get himself killed by a Butterfree or something. So what I might do, maybe... Where is my index cards? I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow. Like, it would be nice if I could just keep doing streams and just dev stream an entire, like, small game, like, just as an experiment. I would get very tired of it very quick. I don't know if I'll do Saturday. I do want to kind of keep chugging at this because it's kind of like just something to get my mind off CNC for a while. Let's see. 25. I'll just mark 08 and then just leave a blank. And maybe, like, I'll see if I can get Feywing following. Maybe collision. I say following or collision. It's not really collision. It might just mean I generate a tile map. A virtual tile map, and then I use it to, like, determine directions you could go. There are some also design ideas. Like, I had a thought, we were watching, like, what was that one video? It was Majula or whatever, where he was like, Kings-like, it was the Kings-like video. And I could see, like, some stuff like, hey, you do bullshit invisible walls, and there's a lot going on that was in mind. It'll probably be figured out. I'm probably gonna see if I could pen these in and maybe this weekend, maybe not. I don't know. Like, I'll see what I can do. I know I have some other stuff that's also eating my time, but hopefully I can get that done sooner than later so I could just focus on this. Can I do the stream outro to, like, something a little less crazy? Tunnel works, whatever. But yeah, that's how you make a game. You just keep doing that for, like, 6 months, and then you have a video game, and then you could, like, make people pay money for it. Honestly, the fact I got this much done is in, like, one day and in one stream after, like, being on hiatus. I guess I did let that build up. Just kind of, like, build up. 3 hours, 27 minutes is what my recorder says. Dropped frames 0. I don't believe that for a second. Okay. And streaming, which means you're probably a bit more distracted too. Yeah. On one hand, I can't really, like, get distracted otherwise. Just get the joyful message of partner took 88 damage. God damn it. No. You know what message you get? You get the message of, like... Oh, wait. I don't think they have a message. It's when the reviver seed kicks in. You should have it, like, the... But do you want... But okay. Yeah. So I think... I don't know when I'll do collision. But tile movement... And, like, knowing that I have a scope to this... You cannot ask Feywing for help when he's not nearby. Yeah, knowing that there is a scope to this... like making the most of just this kind of like keeps us in a very rigid space that doesn't let us scope creep too much. You'll need like something to be scared of. You'll need things to collect. Maybe like secrets. Maybe like alternate endings. Things like that could like bloat things, but I don't know, like I think something simple is doable. And it's so much easier to control in this form factor when it comes to the handhelds. Making this run on the handhelds, especially if we get really good graphics to work. I think it'd be funny if we, despite the hardware being made of like spaghetti, being able to like run this at 30 frames per second at least would actually be a really funny flex. So I think, and then we could have like colored lights and things. Because colored lights will make, we'll give that like classical dungeon crawling vibe, 3D. And then we just have to take the SGI graphics. We get like the bricks and all, OpenGL, and we create the maze game from the Microsoft screensaver. Yeah, I think this is something that can work probably. The bootloader being out of the way is nice. I really wanted to get the bootloader out of the way. Just jump out of here, whatever. Okay. Well, that was a adventure, I guess. I may try to just like stream the next steps, which I'll probably have Feywing do like some kind of follow system. I might see what I can do with that. It might be funny. I know I need him to at least have some kind of follow or disappear system. I haven't like figured out how it'll work yet. But I think some things can be done. I think like a minimalist game can be done with this. 2 weeks to prototype maybe, and then like either go back to Crop and Claw, or if it's like maybe just the game actually looks like it might be fun, then maybe just polish and throw it on like Steam for like $2 or something. I don't know. It won't make a lot of money, like unless like something I do not expect happens, but I don't think that would happen. But it would be nice to have something out for October, because I like Spooky Month. Spooky Month is like my favorite month. It's my favorite holiday. You get like orange trees, and you get scary pumpkins. That shit's awesome. But I think I kill this now, and maybe I'll upload the stream to YouTube. I'll like try to archive these. I don't really expect anyone to watch them, but I think YouTube lets you have like channels have multi-channels or something. I don't know. But I'll for now I'm gonna fuck off. And you have to rake leaves per hour every day. Not every day, just every other day. Like when it really leaves, like lots of leaves come down. There's so many leaves I'm looking at out my window right now. Oh, that's all gonna be orange in like 3 months. That's all gonna just rain down. Well, it was fun watching ILS. Don't understand it all super well, but I appreciate Techno. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was basically gold. he might like, his pupper might pick up on some weird trick that I've done here. Or like remember one and be like, what the fuck was that he did? How did he do that? But yeah, I think it'll be more interesting to see when you see Feywing like walking around or like following you. I think that would be a lot more interesting. For now, I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna go away and like rest. Maybe like try to catch up on work stuff that I may or may not be behind on for reasons. Actually, not that far behind. I'm actually underselling myself. Alright. Where the hell is the exit button? Oh, there.